Me, can you focus on me? Baby, can you focus?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your Rebekah, Elaine, and we are back with another video. You guys, this is a military focused video, so if you're interested, stick around. If you're not, that's okay. This is all about Navy, specifically the social work program. Important things to know is I do not speak for the Navy. I do not speak for the program. I just happen to be in the Navy, and I just happen to be a social worker in the Navy. But some hot news came off the presses, and I just wanted to share it. Essentially, I'm just going to read it. We got a whole info sheet right here. And it's called Navy Medicine Fun Facts. And I was like, why not just read it? Because somewhere in here it says that everybody is a recruiter or something like that, like every sailor is a recruiter or something. Anyway, a lot of people have heard my story in terms of going from enlisted to officer and have reached out to me. I've talked to dozens of people at this point who are interested in being social workers in the Navy, who have become social workers in the Navy. As a matter of fact, sound off in the comment section below if I have helped you in any way, just because it's good to know that I know what I'm talking about. But anyway, again, it's called Navy Medicine Fun Facts, and I'm just going to go ahead and read this while I'm kind of waiting to go to work. I left home early, and I have a lot of time, or I got a little bit of time. So I'm like, let's just read these fun facts. So it's the Navy Clinical Social Work Fellowship. And I'll probably put the flyer on the screen, and we're just going to read it because none of this is coming from me. These are not my opinions or anything like that. It's just from the sheet. I'm just reading it because I don't know if you would get this, but I definitely got it. So fellowship is designed to further hone current clinical acumen while introducing the fellow to instructions and regulations from BUMED, DHA, DOD, and other entities that directly influence clinical practice as an active duty licensed clinical social worker. Time will also be spent providing officership and development as a naval officer to prepare fellows for their initial independently licensed tour and career beyond. Whoop, whoop. Social workers today in the Navy. So, things to know. Our knowledge, skills, and abilities, aka KSAs, are designed for remote, austere settings, and with a focus on providing mental health dispositioning, triage, and psychotherapy as a solo provider role. What our job is and what your job is going to be if you're interested in doing this. Evaluate, diagnose, treat, and disposition of of the war fighter. So y'all, I'm adding words. I want to talk so bad, but it's not my opinion. Foundation in providing long-term psychotherapy, covering depression, anxiety, trauma with adults and older adolescents. Command consultations, connect with and educate leaders of all levels. Briefs and trainings on clinical topics, comfort with public speaking. Fellowship prepares an MSW level clinician for whatever the independent clinical mental health practice license is in the state of their choice. Many states defer to acronyms such as LCSW, LMSW Clinical, and LICSW, or LCSW Tax C. So a lot of different names for essentially the same job. Okay, the training program. All applicants must have completed their master's degree in social work from a graduate school of social work accredited by the Council of Social Work Education. And it has the website here, www.cswe.org. All fellowship applicants will work with the community specialty leader and the detailer in the 24-month fellowship placement based on the current space availability. If needed, co-location for dual military families will be considered. The postgraduate fellowship will be conducted at a military treatment facility, prioritizes mental health practice knowledge, skills, and abilities. And the program will not exceed 24 months. So you got to get licensed within those 24 months. Fellowship applicants assigned to the program in the state requires licensure of graduate level social work must obtain this license. Fellowship participants must pass the independent practice level clinical social work licensure exam prior to the completion of their fellowship and obtain unrestricted licensure to practice prior to transfer to their next duty station. So there's one program with 3 fellowships. It's going to be one in Camp Lejeune, one in Portsmouth, Virginia, and one in San Diego, California. I went to the one in San Diego way back when, 2018 through 2020. So I'm sure the program has changed quite a bit. So we got to go through one other side and then we're done. So again, some fast facts. The fellowship participants are commissioned as a Lieutenant JG, which is a O2, unless prior active commission service warrants entry grade credit. 2 routes to get accepted through the fellowship or to the fellowship. You have the Medical Service Corps and Service Procurement Program, MSCIPP. That's what I use. So whenever someone asks me questions, I can answer questions on this. The other one is so out of my head or over my head. I don't really know. I know a lot of people at this point who have done it, but not necessarily personally. Just they've messaged me and we've kind of corresponded back and forth. But I'm more familiar with MSc IPP. It says must be active duty and will have a master's in social work completed as required in the NAV admin released annually to active duty enlisted to commission. For the direct accession partially trained DAPT, postgraduate professionals who require the 24 months of supervised practice to earn their independent practice license, and this is going to be a civilian to active duty or a reservist to active duty commission. This path requires a recruiter, and there's 1 annual board for selection. So that recruiter piece is very important. Any MSc IPP or DAPC fellowship selectee who accepts the respective commissioning offer will be expected to complete the 24-month rotation or fellowship. So that's important. You got to do that 24-month fellowship. If a selectee is eligible and desires to pursue another pathway, for instance, the direct accession fully trained, before commissioning, they are welcome to apply through the Navy Recruiting Command for consideration. Meaning that if there is someone who already has their license and they want to just go right into the fleet, they can do so, but you have to talk to a recruiter. The DAPT selections will need to have completed their Master of Social Work and be able to enter the Navy's Clinical Social Work Postgraduate Independent Practice Licensure Hour Fellowship during the current fiscal year for which they are applying. That means you got to be ready to go. The clinical social work specialty requires appraisals, interviews to be done and conducted by a current senior clinical social work officer. So that'll be an 04 and above. For reference, I am a 03, so 04 and above can do this. Only once the candidate is within or past their final semester of their properly accredited MSW program and along with a review of a current transcript, unofficial is sufficient. The DAPT applicants do not have any say in where they are going to be stationed for that 24-month fellowship. The detailer will place the selectee based on the current space availability, since it's a rolling commission and admission process, meaning that they'll try and work with you, but we can't guarantee if you're going to go to Lejeune, to San Diego, or to Portsmouth, Virginia. Last little piece down here on the bottom, the service obligation. Excuse me. This is important to know because I actually did not know this, and I was in the Navy when I signed up. But the total service obligation is 4 years post-training, since it is a 24-month pipeline. So essentially, for every 1 year of training, you have a 3-year obligation, and then 6 months after that, you have a 6-month obligation. And so it equals out to 4 years. For more information about the LCSW or the CSW Fellowship Program, please refer to www.navy.com/careers/benefits/careers/medical/social/work. And of course, I'll put that on the screen. So this is hot off the presses, y'all. New information. I just felt like it was good information to share. I hope that is beneficial to you. Again, I can't really answer many questions about like the direct accession route or the partial training. I did not do that. Please speak to a recruiter or refer to that address that I just sent to you, or that website that I just mentioned. Again, I went through the MSc IPP pipeline. I did it back in 2018, so I can answer questions about it, but I do feel like I'm getting a little outdated and rusty on the program. Like, again, every year I help people. I think this year I've helped like 4 or 5 people, and some stuff is the same, but there are things that are changing. So you definitely want someone that has that's really in it. So I will always be helpful and willing to point you in the right direction, but I just don't want to give anybody wrong information, which is why I'm just reading directly from the fact sheet. But I've been talking for about 10 minutes, which was the extra time that I had. I need to get back to work, so I hope this was helpful. If so, give me a big thumbs up, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
Can't focus on me.